Welcome back to the channel, guys. We all know that Rotten Tomatoes is not the biggest fan when it comes to horror and sci-fi movies, but surprisingly, this Alien franchise has 3 certified fresh movies, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But since the 1979 original movie by Ridley Scott, us audience, we keep coming back for more face huggers, the chest bursters, xenomorphs, and those fourth final acts that are nice twists and turns, great characters, story depth, and everything that goes related for sci-fi horror and sci-fi action. Do I agree? Let's find out.
Is this heaven? No. It's Iowa.
Near Lake Okoboji.
Oka what?
Boji. Okoboji.
And just a reminder what everything is. To be certified fresh, it has to be 75% and above for the critics. If it's that red tomato, that's pretty much 60% to 75 range. And when it's rotten, that's 60% and below. So the way I'm going to do this, like in order, is I'm just going to do pretty simple. We're going to go through every movie from the way it was released. So Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, AVP, AVP 2. For those of you who don't know, that's Alien vs. Predator 1 and 2. Prometheus and Covenant. So that's the order we'll be doing it. So starting off with the original 1979, Ridley Scott. And we got a critic score of 93 with an audience score of 94. I'm really curious how the Aliens is going to turn out, because we know that Alien and Aliens are like neck and neck when it comes to what's better. I just did a poll on my channel just the other day, and I think I got 24 votes, and it's literally 50%. So what made this movie amazing? And do I agree? Absolutely, I agree with this. The writing from Dan O'Bannon, the visual stunning orders of H.R. Geiger, and Ridley Scott, the way he can storytell with his camera, those three people putting a movie together, you're never gonna fail. And of course, you have one of the great iconic cast of all times and characters with Ripley, Ash, Dallas, Kane, Lambert, Brett, and Parker. I mean, literally, you have 7 people in this movie, plus Mother, if you want to count Mother and Alien. But the fact that this is a simple sci-fi horror movie, it's like a survival mode of humans versus one creature, and you're in space. You're stuck there. The fact that this is all blue collar workers also, it really represents a lot of people back at home getting, screwed over by the company. A lot of people freaking hate that. And the fact that Ripley was really the most iconic part of this movie, the fact that she went on to be in the first 4 Alien movies, shows that her character is very, very strong, and we will get more into that. But yes, I absolutely agree. For the critic score of 93, 94, that's exactly the range I would give this, because I think this movie, for me, it's like a 9.2 out of 10. Again, I'm very strict when it comes to ratings, and 9.2 is like amazing. So absolutely love this movie. It's really the staple, the origins of the sci-fi horror genre. Yeah, because of course we had some movies before this, like with Halloween. Yeah, it wasn't the first slasher, but in 1978 when Halloween came out, it was like the defining slasher, the starting point, and a lot of copies came after that. And same with Alien. After this, there was nothing but copycats, and this still happens today when you get a lot of stuff like Conjuring. When that happened, before we start seeing all these copycats. But because another thing about this movie is it's also dealing with male overriding the female power, so to speak. Because we know Ripley, she has some leadership status. When Dallas and Kane, when they're off ship, she's in charge. It's that whole argument between her and Ash, because Ash is a science officer. So it deals with that also, and I kind of like that. And it's not really the whole woke thing that freaking Gen Z likes to start up these days, and it's really fucking annoying. But yes, I agree with this critic score for Alien. Next up, we have the James Cameron Aliens that came out in 1986, so a good 7 years after the original, which, today a lot of people would be like, why 7 years? That's such a long time. But back then, it's like, sequels were kind of not really there, because it really was the 80s when you get all the sequels for Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. That's when that really started to blow up. But the fact that we got James Cameron, he did Terminator, True Lies, and of course Titanic and the Avatar movies. Man, what a fantastic director he is. But what made this movie, let's see here. Critics gave it a 94 and audience is a 94. So it's pretty much exactly the same as the original Alien movie, but it's just 1 point above. And I'm going to save my opinions to my rankings, but I do have which one's better in my opinion between the original and Aliens. I'll save that for the rankings. But what made this movie stand out is the fact that it went from a sci-fi horror to a sci-fi action. That's one thing I love about the original Predator movie was it starts out action and then it turns sci-fi. But this is, fantastic. The fact that the original movie was one xenomorph and this one is hundreds, if not thousands, of xenomorphs. You got all your face huggers. You even got kids in this. The fact that you have kids in this, always adds the stage to it. But the fact that Ripley went back to where she was, kind of like The Descendant Part 2, going back to the original location, I always like that because it gives the character a good arc. And by the time she's done with this, she's very much mature. You see like a motherly side of her, and she's such a badass, dude. I love that. Bill Paxton steals the show for me. Absolutely love it. Michael Biehn, he plays Corporal Hicks, and he was replaced at the last minute because we know James Remare, he played Hicks for like a week or so, but then he can't keep that, drugs out of his system, so they kicked him out, bring in Michael Biehn, and, we all know that story before that. But the fact that they add a queen element to this also, absolutely love it. So yeah, Aliens and Aliens, those two movies are absolutely worth the 94, 93 critic score. And do I agree? Absolutely do I agree, yes. If I can just borrow you guys time for 20 seconds, this is not a sponsor. This is about children that need our help. These are children that have cancer, leukemia, all the bad stuff, and it's kill. I'm from Iowa. We have a children's hospital, and you watch any of the Iowa football games during the first quarter, we do the Iowa Wave to the children in the hospital. They deserve all the stuff, and I just want to say, guys, in the description box below, I have a link for description where you can donate, and that's all I want to say, guys, because I absolutely love Iowa, and I love what they're doing with the Iowa children. So please, if you have money and you want to donate, go to the description box, give it to them. Do not give it to me. All right, next two movies are the ones that are going to be kind of back and forth between me and you audience. Some of you guys might hate these movies, some of you all might love these movies, and for many reasons, that's fine. We all love movies for different reasons. They're all subjective. One might hit you differently than the other. We have different nostalgia. We're all different ages. Me, for the 1992 Alien 3, I actually do enjoy this movie. I do. Yeah, of course, it's nowhere near Aliens first two movies. It's not even close to the tier. But it's not as bad as a lot of people give it. I don't think so. Yeah, of course, the CGI alien, it's like, I'm not really a big fan of that. And we all know the whole David Fincher. It wasn't his fault because he came into this and the production was just already a mess. This is what happens when the studio has too many cooks in the kitchen. You have like 10 executives that want this, and it's really annoying when they do that. That's one thing I like about Kevin Feige with the Marvels. He's kind of like the one-man show, and it's a lot easier to kind of do that. But the fact that they're not in space is a nice change, because you don't want to go back to space again. Even though they were on the planet and aliens, you're still like kind of in space in a way. With this, it's like you're in a prison. Yeah, you're on a different planet, I get that, but I like how the cast was actually decently good, and the acting actually was really good. I actually liked the acting. The acting was what kind of saved this movie. Yeah, the pacing was kind of slow at first, but the ending was awesome when you got to see like Weyland Tawny, got to see Bishop. That whole scene with Ripley, sacrificing herself. I thought that was a fantastic ending. The ending was really the highlight of this whole entire movie. And yes, I get it. You killed off Newt and Hitch in the beginning of the movie. Like, I cannot stand when people do that, especially when they're beloved characters. And her shaving her head, I don't mind that. It's very iconic now, because when you see, a shaved head, I always think of this movie, and I think of Demi Moore and G.I. Jane. But the critic score gives it a 45, and the audience gives it a 46. Do I agree with a 45? I kind of do, actually. I do. And I do enjoy this movie a lot, but 45 is pretty, I would give it within that range. Yeah, I'm definitely within that range. So yeah, I agree with that. Next up, with the 1997 Alien Resurrection. And this has a critic score of 55 and an audience score of 93. And I'm going to say right now, I do not agree with that. Because this is saying that Alien Resurrection is better than Alien 3. And that's up to debate. Like I said, some people are going to say, yes, that's better than Alien 3. Some people say, no, Alien 3 is better. And I'm going to be part of the group that's going to be saying Alien 3 is better than Alien Resurrection. So I totally do not agree with this 55. I would actually give it more like a 35, to be completely honest. It's not that bad at all. There's definitely a lot of good things about it. I like the fact that the military does experiment with the xenomorphs and the face huggers at like full force. I really do like that. And you got Brad Dourif that voiced Chucky. That was a nice little nod, especially at the end when he kind of gets like a little speech and he's like kind of yelling, and it's like straight up Chucky. So it's like a nice little Chucky voice in there. But the fact that the casting, you have a lot of Hall of Famers, so to speak, in this cast. The acting was pretty good. I will give that to that. But the idea of like going 200 years in the future and bringing Ripley back again for the 4th time, that was my biggest negative. Was like, why are we bringing her back for the 4th fucking time? And you bring her back as a clone. She's half human, half alien, and then you have this weird ass fucking creature at the end, dude. That was my last final straw. I just, at least for this movie, like when I still watched it, it was still enjoyable from start to finish, but the ending gets me every time. It just gets weird, and she's all like massaging that creature. Why are we doing this? But like Ryanno Ryder, I think that's her name correctly, she was the highlight for me of this movie. I really like her, especially that one scene when she tried to pick up the glass with her boxing gloves. It gets me every freaking time. But do I agree? Again, no, I do not agree with a 55 for Alien Resurrection. Moving on to the 2 Alien vs. Predator movies. First one came out in 2004, and I absolutely love the idea of finally getting Alien in a Predator movie, on big screen. I was 14 years old when this came out. I was born in 1990. So this is very nostalgic for me because I was like just old enough to go with someone that was old enough to go to the movie theaters and watch this. And of course I loved it as a kid, but the more I got older, the more I'm like, I'm starting to get a little nitpicky. And the critics give it a 22 and the audience give it a 39. Do I agree with a 22? Absolutely not. Like, this is not a good movie this is an average movie. So I would definitely give it more than a 22. A 22 is really freaking low. I would put this up there around Alien 3, so like a good 40 to 50 range. That's exactly where I would put it, but 22, that is incredibly low. Yeah, I get it. The whole Predator part, anything Predator, the way they look, the sound, I did not like at all. It was way too big and too many lion roars. I don't even know what the fuck you're going with that. But the whole Alien Xenomorphs, they hit a home run in my opinion. Anything Alien related, the facehugger, the Xenomorphs, absolutely loved it. The Queen at the end was pretty solid. I like that very end. But again, just the idea and the story was just kind of average. And I feel like it was half-assed. It was kind of like they could have done a lot more with this, especially with the budget what they had and all the time they had leading up to this, because we had comics, video games, toys, you name it, adaptations before we saw this movie. For 22 though, for a critic score, no, I do not agree with that. Next up is probably one of the worst movies in the franchise up to debate, and that's your 2007 Alien vs. Predator 2 Recrum. Yeah, this is just a garbage movie. There's some nice parts into it. Like, I do enjoy the fact that the aliens, Xenomorphs, are on Earth finally. Because yeah, AVP, they were just in Antarctica. But this is the first time they're actually on Earth, present time. I kind of enjoy that. I did not mind that at all. But the fact that you have this Predator alien and it's just like nothing but a black screen the whole entire time. And there's some scenes like the hospital scenes where it went a little too far. It's like, come on guys, this is not what this is supposed to be. The acting was just terrible. It was nothing but bad actors. I'm not a fan of the casting choice. Yeah, John Ortiz was really the highlight. The sheriff, he was kind of like the main highlight. But that one Big Brother, like, is he supposed to be the main character? I don't get this, because like all he does was have the same look on his face, same expression, and it was just really annoying. And like, you come back and you boss your brother around like that, I will punch you in the fucking face if you talk to me that way. I cannot stand that dude. There are some cool kills, like that one pool scene with the Xenomorph. That was pretty solid. I do mind that, but the idea of the military like coming that quick, because we all know that was not the National Guard. I served 6 years in National Guard. I was a Cav Scout, 13 Fox, 4 Observer. That is not how that. It's just, you don't act like that. That was clearly a government. They knew what they were doing, and the fact that they portray the National Guard like that, it's like, come on. I hate when people do that. But again, the critic score give this a 12 and an audience score of 30. Do I agree with 12? Absolutely. Do I agree with 12? I absolutely agree. 30 is pushing it. If I had to give it, I would give it like I would say like 15 to 20. That is where I would put for AVP 2. And yeah, this is definitely in the bottom of the list for the rankings of the whole Alien Predator franchise. And that's pretty bad when you're in two different franchises and you're in the bottom bucket of both. But yeah, that is your 2007 AVP 2. Up next, we got the two prequels for the Alien movies that Ridley Scott finally came back. And we start off with 2012 Prometheus, which I absolutely love this movie. Absolutely love this movie overall. If it was a standalone film, it would even got a lot more better audience, I would say. But there's a lot of people that are out there like they don't like this movie because the fact that it really had no xenomorphs really in it at all. And this whole engineers was kind of taking the front stage, and David kind of took the front stage. I get all that, I really do. But the fact that this movie is so visually stunning, the cast is so amazing, the acting was phenomenal. The idea of a prequel story leading up to Nostromo, I'm a big prequel fan. I absolutely love going back, explaining origins, but Ridley Scott is like, man, why do we have to go this engineers crap? You know, some of it was okay, like the black goo and all that stuff, but I don't know about the whole engineer part. But I love the color palette. It's like really blue. Blue is my favorite color. Of course, that's not gonna like make or break a movie, but I just really love that part because when I get into the Covenant, I'm gonna talk about the green color. But also with Prometheus, they have one of the scores, is that opening score. It's like in my top 10 all-time favorite scores of all time. I can listen to that all day and just relax, be in my zone. But I think this movie is very, very underrated. I do like Michael Fassbender as David. I just don't like the fact that they put a lot of focus on him. But I really enjoy his character. I do enjoy his character. I enjoy how he was portrayed, but I wish he was more of a side story, backstory to all this. But it had a very good, satisfying fourth act, and the fact that one chick definitely got what she got at the very end was a satisfied kill. And this had a critic score of 73 and an audience score of 68. Do I agree? Yeah. I mean, 73 is still pretty solid. I absolutely love this movie. I would give it more like maybe an 82, but I can live with a 73 because when I agreed on something, it has to be like within 10 points. You know, I'm not going to agree on if it's that close, but if it's within 10 of what I think it's going to be, yeah. Audience, it's less than critics, which is, I'm not surprised because a lot of the fans are just, they want the, with Alien Romulus coming out, it's very back to original, xenomorphs, dark, scary shit. I get that. But me personally, I will watch Prometheus all fucking day. Lastly, we got the 2017 Covenant, which is the next one right after Prometheus, and it was going to be the second part of a trilogy, but since this movie really didn't do that well in the box office, it scrapped the third movie. But the critic score for Alien Covenant is a 65, and the audience is a 55. And do I agree with that? Yeah, I agree with that, because it's definitely a step down from Prometheus, but not too far than a lot of people are saying, because audience is giving it a 55. I mean, that's the fourth best in the franchise, and that's where I would put this in the franchise. The opening scene, I admit, I skip it every single time. When David and Weyland are all, that whole scene was just so boring. I skip it every single time, and I wish they just take it out. But the fact that they bring back another Michael Fassbender AI named Michael, so you have David and Michael, and that one scene of them, I swear to God, like the flute scene, it's so disturbing. I cannot watch every time. But I do enjoy the fact that it's like a new, different group of people. This is, colonists looking for a new life. I really like the acting in this. There are some dope kills in this. And yeah, I get it. The CGI for the xenomorph at the end isn't that great. I get it. I mean, yeah, it's CGI. We all want the practical effects. 100% agree. And we do have a nice little twist and turn at the end, because just when you thought it was good to go, you're going to take a shower, have a nice sex scene, and nope, we got a fourth final act. And even after that, at the very end, there's a nice twist and turn. And I won't spoil that. I'll leave you guys alone. I was really hoping there was going to be a third one, but it's starting to look like we're not. Obviously, we got Romulus coming out and the Alien Earth TV series that'll be coming out Hulu next year. So most likely we're not going to come back to this. But do I agree with the 65-55? Again, yeah, I agree with that. The one thing I didn't like about this movie was killing off, Shaw from the Prometheus, the Survivor. You killed her off screen, and it's like, man, she did all of that, and that's how you kill her? Man. But Prometheus, surprisingly, is certified fresh. I don't really understand, because you're supposed to be a 75% or above, but it's at 73, but it's considered certified, so. Aliens, and Prometheus are the 3 certified movies in this franchise. And I'm really curious what you guys think about this franchise. Do you agree with me, or do you agree with Rotten Tomatoes? What do you guys differ? Is there some of this where you're like, man, there's no way that's a 45 or a 55? And I would love to hear you guys' opinion, because this is all subjective. We all take it differently from each other. It all hits us differently, and that's great. That's what I love about movies. And of course, my opinion is gonna be way different than a lot of y'all. And I know some might agree with me, some won't, and that's totally fine. And I just really hope that this Alien Romulus movie is gonna be something more toward the 90s, and it's starting to look like it. So I'm excited. It comes out here on the 16th, so not too much longer, guys. And just remember, go Hawks.